be 3 5-stars, or it could be 3 1-stars. And I have no idea. I want to go on record and just let everybody know that Kayla is a genius. It's not like the worst thing I've ever read, but it's also like not great. We have reached the point in the vlog where I have to ask, did I read the same book? I don't like it. Finally, we're getting a win. We are finally winning. I love it. I love this book. Hi, hello, it's Jess. Good morning and welcome to the vlog. Welcome to episode 1 of Booktube Knockout. I'm sure you've seen the title, so you know that in this vlog, I'm going to be reading like Kayla from Books and Lala. I am so excited. I have been wanting to start this little mini series for so long, and I finally have the time. I have been buying books and planning this out for like 6 months now. It's not a new concept to read like other booktubers by any means. Kayla's the first person I personally ever saw read like another booktuber. I think she kicked off the trend within the book community at least. Since then, there have been so many iterations of this. Particularly, Meg turned it into a game where when she reads the books and rates them, there's also a leaderboard to see who has the most similar taste to her. I want to join in. I want to get in on this fun. And so I have designed a tournament. I'm pitting booktuber against booktuber, and we will see who will be victorious. I have selected 8 booktubers. Obviously, I'm starting with Kayla. I am also including Meg, but the other 6 I'm leaving as a surprise, and you'll have to tune into future episodes to find out who they are. But I have intentionally picked 8 booktubers with varying degrees of similarity to my own taste, and I have ranked them based off of how similar their taste aligns with mine. I want to be very clear, very crystal clear. I am not ranking these booktubers based off of the content that they produce, only how closely their taste aligns with my taste. In a tournament, the first seed is matched up against the last seed, the second to the second to last, and so on and so forth, with the goal being that the better teams should make it through the first rounds, and then if everything goes according to plan, the first and second seed, the best, or in this case, most similar to me, face off in the finals. Kayla's ranked number 8. I would have started with her regardless of where she was because she is who started this trend within the book community. And also, a little fun fact, Kayla is definitely one of the people who got me back into reading back in 2016, and I'm so thankful for that. But she also is ranked number 8. Out of all of the booktubers in this series, Kayla has the potential to have the worst rating based off of my taste. There have been books that Kayla and I have both loved, been all-time favorite books, rated 5 stars. But then there are also times where Kayla rates a book 5 stars and I think it is bad, where I actively hate the book and it's one of her all-time favorites. There are times where Kayla rates a book 5 stars and I think it's fine, like a good solid 3-star book. So honestly, I have no idea how this is gonna go. I will be reading 3 of Kayla's favorite books. This could be 3 5-stars, or it could be 3 1-stars. And I have no idea. I also want to make it clear that in picking books for this series, I have intentionally tried to pick books that I think I will really genuinely enjoy. I want to have a good time. I want this to be a fun, enjoyable, just good time for everybody. So I have picked books that I hope will be 5 stars. Let's get down to the TBR. First up, I have Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. This is a young adult contemporary novel. It's a coming of age story about Billy, who lives in a small town and is slowly starting to realize that she's in love with both of her best friends. One is a girl, one is a boy. I don't know that this is still Kayla's favorite book, but for years, this is the book that Kayla would say is definitively her number one favorite book. I just feel like I have to include this book that meant so much to Kayla for so many years. The second book I'll be reading is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is an adult thriller. I picked this book because Kayla is known for her thriller recommendations, and this was her favorite thriller, I believe, in 2021. But it is actually pretty rare these days for Kayla to give 5 stars to a thriller, so I'm very excited to give this a try. This book follows 6 friends who are returning for their 10-year college reunion. During their senior year of college, there used to be 7 of them, but one of them was murdered, and now as they come back for the 10-year reunion, someone is trying to solve the case that was never solved and figure out who the murderer is. And then the last book for this vlog is Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. I think this is a book that people associate with Kayla, that she is known for, and she has made so many people read this book, and now is my turn. This is a sci-fi book about an alchemist who creates these twins, Roger and Dodger. Roger is excellent with language, Dodger is excellent with math, and basically it's this alchemical quest, I guess, to see if they can attain godhood. It says, "Godhood is attainable. Pray it isn't attained." Does anyone remember when Kayla reread this book and like recreated the cover with her husband and like put wax on his hand and like lit his actual hand on fire? The look on Kayla's face when she realized that her husband's hand was indeed on fire is like etched into my brain and has become a core memory of mine that I cannot disassociate from this book. And it was just such an iconic moment in Booktube history. And honestly, Kayla creating moments like that are why she is the queen of Booktube and why she is first up for this series. These are the books. This is the order that I will be reading them, and it's also the order that I think I will enjoy them. I think Dress Codes for Small Town will be the one I enjoy the least, and Middle Game will be the one that I enjoy the most. This is gonna be such a fun vlog. By the way, I also forgot to mention that I started editing this video and the entire intro was screwed up. The audio got so corrupted. So I actually am refilming the intro of this, so if you see me doing updates in the same outfit, or if the next clip, my Christmas tree, is back up, mind your business. go on record and just let everybody know that Kayla is a genius. Avocado toast, where the toast is hash browns, is so good. The saltiness of the hash browns with the avocado, with the egg, it is so good. In other news, I'm also halfway through Dress Codes for Small Towns. I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't think at this point that it's going to become like an all-time favorite book for me, but I am enjoying myself. I think Courtney Summers is doing a really good job of using metaphors for how humans feel and the complex emotions that we have without being too on the nose or using metaphors that have been overused. For example, one of the characters has like a disappointing kiss, and it is described as dropping a book on the low register of a piano, like just a bonk. And I'm like, that's a phenomenal, like, genius level metaphor. You can picture that in your brain. You know exactly how it sounds. And then when you use that to describe a kiss, perfect. I'm really, really liking the writing style. I mentioned before, this is a book about a girl, Billy, and she is falling in love with both of her best friends. I'm not necessarily feeling super connected to Billy as a character, but I do feel a lot of empathy for what she's going through. The way Courtney Summers conveys these complex emotions about your sexuality, about gender and gender expression, and also like just the complexity of growing up, and like, what if I ruin the friendship group? What if everything changes? What if it changes for the worse? What if it changes for the best? What does this mean? If I'm in love with this person, what does it mean about me? What does it mean about my sexuality? You can really empathize and you can really relate and get in that mindset. However, despite that, I'm not feeling necessarily particularly connected to Billy herself. Another thing that complicates this entire thing is that Billy is the preacher's kid, and this is a very, very small town. It's very conservative. There's an added layer to everything because Billy is a religious person. You know, she has faith, and her faith is very, very important to her. And I think that Courtney, oh my God, have I been saying Courtney Summers? Courtney Stevens did a really good job incorporating faith into Billy's personality and how her faith is important to her and how her small hometown is important to her. And she loves all of these different parts of herself. She loves how they all work together. And I think she did a really good job portraying that, like, for Billy, all of these parts are just different parts of her, and they all complement and work together for Billy. I don't love how Billy's dad specifically, though, talks about sexuality and gender, and so far it's like not really challenged. I mean, here's the thing, it's not like the worst thing I've ever read, but it's also like not great. I know that's a really vague statement. Like, I'm not giving you anything to go off of, but that's my feelings. I'm tired. But I will say, though, that how Billy's dad has reacted, not to Billy, but to, like, other characters within the book and the things he says, and also how he reacts about the way Billy dresses and, like, sometimes chooses to present herself. It is not great, but I have half a book to go. I'm gonna make some more avocado toast and I'm gonna read until I fall asleep. So I will talk to you later. just finished my stream, but I also finished Dress Codes for Small Towns. And you know what? I really did enjoy this book. I have settled on a 3.5 for this book. Honestly, I just think that overall, it's a really great, solid book. Everything that I said from before held true for basically the whole book. Courtney Stevens' writing style carried the thing, and her writing style and the way she expresses human emotions, especially that teenage coming of age type of emotion, was fantastic. Easily the best part of the entire book. Other than her actual writing style, I don't necessarily have anything super crazy to say about this book. Other than the way Billy's father sometimes, and it's not always, but sometimes communicates to her about gender roles and sexuality and gender expression. Other than that, I really don't have any complaints about this novel. I just don't have anything else to like rave about. I also wanted to mention too that towards the end, there are some conversations that Billy has with her friends, which are very good conversations, but it's definitely a case where like Courtney Stevens wrote in the dialogue as like, if this is what your friend is telling you, this is how you should respond so that they feel like good and validated and seen. And I mean, honestly, there's nothing wrong with her putting that in there. I think that for a young teen, like, it's a good message and it can definitely help them to self-reflect. So I think that it is a positive thing, but there were definitely a couple moments in here where I was like, no teens would be saying these words to each other. Overall, though, it was a really good experience and I do recommend it, and I am glad that I read this book. When you finish this book, like, it ends on very hopeful notes and it just makes you feel like your heart is really full, which is just such a great way to end a book, in my opinion. For her first book with me, Kayla scores a 3.5. I will next be moving on to In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. Kayla gave this a 5-star read. It was her favorite thriller the year that she read this, and everybody raves about this book. I have very high expectations that I am trying to manage, but this follows 6 friends who are returning back to their college for their 10-year reunion. And 10 years ago, in their senior year, one of the friend group was murdered. So now 10 years later, somebody, I don't know who, is trying to solve the murder. I have very high hopes that this could be a 5-star read. Hello. Good morning. I wanted to just do a real quick update. I'm about 100 pages into In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife, and so far it's fine. There is definitely some dark academia going on. There's definitely some criticism of elitism and classism and also privilege, especially when it pertains to education and wealth. I do like the criticism there, but other than that, it's very like, fine. It's fine. It's a book. If the murderer is who the book is setting up at the moment to be the murderer, I'm gonna be livid. I'm gonna be so angry. It will ruin the entire book if it is that, just because it is so overt and in your face and obvious. And if they're gonna be that obvious, like, pass. That's all I have to say. I'm reading it. It's fine. Good morning. We have reached the point in the vlog where I have to ask, did I read the same book? Is this even the same book? Are we sure? Because I don't like it. Straight up, like, I I don't like it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't like it. I think it's bad. I'm giving In My Dreams I Hold a Knife 2 stars. I knew that there was a distinct possibility that I was gonna rate one or more of these books low. But I didn't actually think I would. I thought that I had picked books that I would enjoy. I just, like, honestly was bored reading this book. Now, here's the thing. None of the main characters are good. Like, the friend group is a toxic friend group. And you're not meant to like any of them, including the character whose head you're in. And that's fine. There are a lot of books with unlikable protagonists that I really enjoy. I think the main problem here is that I just couldn't care. Like, I was not invested in the story and I just didn't care what happened. There really wasn't a reveal that had me clutching my pearls, and I don't know if it's because I saw it coming or if it's because I just didn't care. So when things were revealed, I was like, okay, whatever. Now, I am still giving this 2 stars, not 1 star. A, because I didn't hate my experience reading this, but I also did like some of the criticism that this book has on the education system, specifically in the US. There definitely is criticism in this book of like the elitism and privilege and wealth and all of that, but the commentary was not intersectional or nuanced enough to be worth the book getting any more than 2 stars. I don't understand what book everybody else read, because this was a snooze fest for me. I'm gonna go get some food now because I just finished my stream. I'm starving. I'm gonna go take care of my puppies, and then I'm gonna start Middle Game, which is the book that I am most looking forward to in this whole vlog. Middle Game, I think, has the highest potential to be a 5-star read for me. Hi, hello, good morning. I have a bagel in the toaster, so that means I've got a couple minutes to do an update while I wait. I'm loving this. I'm loving it. Finally, we're getting a win. I'm almost halfway, you can see. I mentioned before that, like, basically an alchemist, like, created Roger and Dodger. They were like created together, but they have been separated at birth. And so where I'm at now, they basically just got together. They like coincidentally happen to go to the same grad school. So they are now together, and I'm expecting the plot to pick up significantly. It's really, really weird because I've read like half of this book, and in terms of like plot, not much has happened. It's basically been like slice of life with Roger and Dodger. There's also been like a lot of like teasing and hinting and like a little bit of world building about alchemy and how it works within this world, which like this is set in our world, but like, you know, it's an assuming that alchemy and magic exists. And every single time I get a glimpse into alchemy, it is so cool. Like Shauna Maguire is so good at like tantalizing and teasing you, and it's like so readable. Like I have not been bored a single time, not even for a second. Like literally not one page of this book has been boring. It's so excellent. And also like I love Roger and Dodger, both of them. They're so precious and cute, and I love them both so much. I would die for either of them. I would love to tell you more, but this is one of those books that I think the less you know, the more you're gonna enjoy it. If the premise sounds interesting, you should pick this book up because like the characters are fantastic. It's so compulsively readable. It's so entertaining, and like the alchemy is so interesting. Like I am so intrigued. I'm so happy reading this book. It's so good. Okay, I will talk to you when I have finished Middle Game. Good morning, friends. We are finally winning. I love it. I love this book. 5 stars to Middle Game. I'm so happy that we're finishing this vlog on a good note because it was touch and go there for a while, but it's fine. We're back and we are winning. I am obsessed with Shauna Maguire's writing style. I love it. Now I want to read every single thing Shauna Maguire has ever written. I cannot afford to buy the entire Wayward Children series. Like, it's how many books are in that series now? I'm about to set up a GoFundMe so that I can afford to buy all of Shauna Maguire's other books. I love how insanely creative she was with the magic system. I love that it plays with math and language, and like the final showdown, if you will. I loved that. I loved everything about that. I loved how it was set up and like the stairs. If you know what I'm talking about, like if you know, you know, like that was so creative. I also really loved the ending of this. I love that the ending was kind of quiet and it just felt so right thematically. Also, another part of the final showdown, like the bucket, that was so good. That's so creative. And like the way she wrote that too, like, oh my gosh, so good. Like just like her literal prose on page when she wrote that was so fantastic. And I was just like, I'm in love. I am in love. This book definitely has like a softer magic system. The rules are very flexible. They don't always apply. And so I think that not everyone will like the magic system. I want to say that everyone will because I just love this book so much, but I know that there will be people who are like, that doesn't make sense. You can't just do that. And she just did it. But within the world and within the framework that Shauna Maguire has set up, it makes sense that she can just do that. I didn't feel at any point in time like there was like a loophole. The entire ride of this story, I just felt so immersed. It's good. It's outstanding. 5 out of 5 stars. I'm so happy that I read this book. When I started this vlog, I told you all that like I picked books that I genuinely thought I was going to enjoy. I didn't pick any of these books thinking that I would dislike them, but I also told you all that Kayla and I have very different taste in books. Honestly though, I'm gonna keep reading things that Kayla recommends because I've also found a favorite author because of her. I honestly don't know if I'd read any Stephen Graham Jones if it hadn't been for Kayla. And honestly, the two of us have the correct opinion about My Heart is a Chainsaw. So anyone who disagrees with myself and the Queen can eat it as far as I'm concerned because we are correct. I don't necessarily know if I learned anything from this experiment. It basically went exactly how it should statistically. I read 3 books that Kayla gave 5 stars to, and I gave 1 a 5 star, 1 a 3.5, and 1 a 2. Which means Kayla ends up with a 3.5 average. I also think perhaps moving forward that maybe I should focus on horror books that Kayla really likes. In the Venn diagram, horror recommendations that Kayla really loves seems to be the biggest overlap between what is a 5 star for me and what is a 5 star for Kayla. I think honestly thrillers are probably the least that we have in common, and then our taste in lightly fantastical novels also pretty well aligns. I don't know if I would say this is lightly fantastical. I do think that this is squarely in the fantasy genre, but it is also set in our world, so it's definitely not high epic fantasy, which is one of my favorite subgenres. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Kayla read a high epic fantasy novel. Can you imagine if Kayla's just bye guys, I'm reading Stormlight Archives? I would absolutely gag. I don't know if I learned anything from this, but I am gonna still keep reading books that Kayla recommends. That brings us to the end of the vlog. Everything in this vlog worked out how it should statistically. Kayla's final average for the 3 books that I read is 3.5. We won't know if Kayla advances to the second round of the Booktube Knockout until I read the person who's ranked number 1. Because like I said, based off of how Kayla and my reading taste overlaps, she did get ranked 8th. Again, she's not being ranked as a content creator, just based off of the overlap of our books. But since she is in 8th place, that puts her against the top ranked person. So it'll be a bit before we know whether she advances to the second round, but I had a blast with this vlog. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you for being here. If you enjoyed yourself, please feel free to subscribe. I hope that you are safe. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're hydrated, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.